Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to this video where we are going to talk about a subject that touches each of us deeply, the answering of our prayers. We all know that praying is an act of submission, but sometimes waiting for Allah's response can confuse us. In this video, we will explore 10 signs which show that your prayers are being answered. These signs are not always obvious, but by paying attention to them, you will be able to recognize the hand of Allah working in your lives. So sit back and let us guide you through these valuable clues that remind you that your prayers are never ignored. 1. A feeling of inner peace. Scene: a person sitting quietly in a mosque, surrounded by soft light filtering through the windows. The noise of the outside world is muted, and the person seems completely peaceful. Narrator: the first sign that your prayer is being answered is inner peace. Imagine yourself, after having performed a prayer, alone in the mosque or in a quiet place, surrounded by palpable serenity. There is a feeling of deep calm, as if all the hustle and bustle of the world disappears, and you are enveloped in divine tranquility. This feeling, this deep peace, is a clear sign that your prayer has found an echo with Allah. We have all experienced those moments when, after praying, we feel this tranquility that invades our heart. It's like a gentle wave which chases away doubts, fears, and worries. You suddenly feel lighter, more serene, ready to face everyday challenges with renewed confidence. It is a divine gift, a sign that your invocations have been heard. Allah, in His infinite mercy, has promised that the reminder of Allah brings peace to hearts. It is not a simple tranquility that comes from an absence of external noise, but a spiritual, deep, and invigorating peace, an appeasement that silences inner tumults. As He says in the Quran, surely it is through the remembrance of Allah that hearts find peace. Surat Ar-Ra'd 13:28. This peace you feel is not just temporary relief. It is the manifestation of grace of Allah who takes care of your worries, your torments, your desires. When your thoughts are in disorder, Allah, by His mercy, orders all this in your heart, returning it to its natural balance. You are at peace, not because you have an immediate answer to your prayers, but because you have found complete trust in Allah's plan, whatever it is. You prayed, you invoked with sincerity, and now Allah grants you this inner peace to remind you that your worries are not ignored. Your prayers are supported by the greatest wisdom, the one that goes beyond our understanding, but which, deep down, allows us to feel this reassuring peace that touches our heart. And this is where the real answer to your prayer begins: peace of soul. A peace that does not depend on external circumstances, but on the certainty that whatever happens, Allah takes care of you. 2. A change in your attitude or behavior. Scene: a person who, after prayer, begins to act differently. He helps someone in need, resists temptation, or makes more conscious decisions. Narrator: another powerful sign that your prayers are being answered is a tangible change in your attitude or behavior. It may seem subtle at first, but if you pay attention, you will begin to notice a transformation in the way you respond to life situations. You may be more patient, calmer, or even more willing to do good around you. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, sometimes answers your prayers by changing your heart, making Him more receptive to good deeds, perseverance in difficult times, and love of good for others. You may have faced situations where, before praying, you reacted with anger, frustration, or impatience. But after invoking Allah, you feel a kind of inner calm, a new wisdom that guides you to react differently. A change of heart which inspires you to choose patience over impatience, to persevere through your trials, and to reach out to help those in need. It is Allah who, through your prayer, purify your heart and grants you the strength to act with more kindness, compassion, and benevolence. Perhaps you have found yourself in a situation where ordinarily you would have acted in a negative or unfair way. But after praying, you made a different choice. A choice that brings you closer to what is right in the eyes of Allah. This is not a simple superficial change, but a deep change of the soul. You become more aware of how your actions affect others, and you begin to strive to do good. Allah reminds us in the Quran, "Whoever fears Allah, Allah will give him a favorable outcome." Surah At-Talaq, 65 verse 2. This verse emphasizes that the fear of Allah, that healthy fear that prompts you to keep His commandments and avoid sin, leads to positive changes in your life. When you draw closer to Allah in your prayers, He guides you, strengthens you, and helps you overcome life's obstacles with renewed will. So change in your behavior after prayer is a tangible sign that your prayers have not gone unanswered. It is Allah who shapes your heart, making it stronger and more aligned with His will, enabling you to act in accordance with the Islamic principles of kindness, justice, and patience. Pay attention to these small transformations, because they are signs of a divine response that begins in the heart and is reflected in the world around you. 3. The emergence of new opportunities. Scene: a person who, after prayer, receives an unexpected opportunity, perhaps a job interview, an important meeting, or a solution to a problem. Narrator: another clear sign that your prayer is being answered comes in the form of new opportunities that come to you. These opportunities don't just happen. They are direct answers to the invocations you have made, doors that you perhaps never imagined would open. You may be faced with a difficulty, a stuck situation, and after praying, suddenly you find yourself faced with an opportunity that you had not even anticipated. This is where the grace of Allah is revealed. It opens doors that you can't even see in your immediate reality. When you pray sincerely, you place your complete trust in Allah, knowing that He is the one who holds the key to all solutions. Maybe you've been looking for a job for a long time without success. Or maybe you were looking for a solution to a particular problem. And then, as if by miracle, a new opportunity appears before you. This could be in the form of a chance meeting with an influential person, a new project that opens up to you, or even an unforeseen situation that suddenly becomes unblocked. This is the divine answer to your supplications, which materializes in a form that you had not anticipated. Allah says in the Quran, "And whoever fears Allah, He will provide him with a favorable outcome and give him help from where he does not expect it." Surah At-Talaq, 65:2. This verse reminds us that the fear of Allah and the sincerity of our prayers open unexpected doors. Sometimes Allah's response to our supplications is not what we imagined, but it is always perfect and perfectly adapted to our needs, even if it takes a different form than we expected. These are often these small opportunities, these chance encounters, which change the course of our lives. They are not the result of chance, but rather a gift from Allah, an opportunity that you received thanks to your trust in Him. What you need to understand is that these doors opening are not there just by chance. They are signs that Allah answers your prayers, and what He offers you is exactly what you need when you need it. So the next time you are faced with a new possibility, a sudden change in your circumstances, don't see it as just a coincidence, but as a direct response from Allah to your supplications. These opportunities are blessings sent to guide you, to help you move forward, to bring you closer to your destiny, and ultimately to make you closer to Allah. 4. A hardening in the face of temptation. Seen. A person who, when faced with temptation, hesitates for a moment, but ultimately chooses the right path, showing firm determination in his behavior. Narrator. Sometimes one of the clearest signs that your prayers are being answered is strength to resist temptations. You suddenly find yourself having a new resistance against what previously attracted you. Harmful habits, negative thoughts, desires that take you away from the right path. You fight them with an inner strength that you didn't have before. This change, this new force, does not come from yourself, but Allah, which gives you the ability to rise above these obstacles, to stand firm in the faith. There are times in life when we are faced with temptations that we have long struggled to avoid. Maybe it was a bad habit, bad company, or even sins that seemed irresistible to you. But after praying, after sincerely asking Allah for help, you feel stronger. You are able to resist what you could not have done before. It is not a simple force of will, but rather the power of Allah working in your heart, offering you guidance to make the right choices. Allah reminds us in the Quran, Allah does not burden a soul beyond its capacity. Surat Al-Baqarah 2:286. This verse is a promise from our Lord. Every trial, every temptation we encounter, Allah gives us the strength and ability to overcome it. When you feel that you are resisting a temptation that you could not have avoided before, it is Allah who helps you to overcome your human weaknesses. You begin to realize that you have a power you never knew you had, the power to choose what is right, to reject what is harmful. This resistance is not the result of simple personal discipline, but an act of was, a response to your sincerity in prayer. You turned to Allah, and He gave you the strength to fight what separated you from Him, themselves, until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. Surah Fussilat 41:53. This verse reminds us that the signs of Allah are everywhere, in nature, in our lives, and in our hearts. Dreams and spiritual symbols are among those signs which strengthen our faith and confirm that we are never far from divine mercy. These spiritual signs, whether in dreams or in reality, remind you that you are supported by a higher force. They strengthen your patience and encourage you to continue on the path of faith with confidence. When you see these signs, be attentive and grateful. It is a way for Allah to strengthen your heart, to remind you that He is near, that He listens to your prayers, and that He never leaves you alone. 7. Positive changes in relationships with others. Scene: two people talking calmly, resolving a conflict that seemed insurmountable, or two friends who, after an ordeal, strengthen their bond of friendship with kindness. Narrator. Another clear sign that your prayers are answered is often manifested in positive changes within your human relations. After praying sincerely, you can begin to observe a significant improvement in your interactions with others, whether with your loved ones, your colleagues, or even strangers. You find yourself experiencing more moments of understanding, kindness, and forgiveness, where before there were tensions, misunderstandings, or arguments. When you are sincerely connected to Allah through your prayers, this is inevitably reflected in your interpersonal relationships. You become more patient, more tolerant, and more willing to see the good in others, even in times of disagreement. This change in your behavior is not just a temporary improvement, but a tangible sign of divine response. Allah purifies your intentions and inspires you to treat others with more respect and gentleness. Maybe you have had persistent conflicts with a friend, a family member, or even a colleague. And after praying, you find yourself more open to reconciliation, more willing to forgive and understand the other's perspective. This is not due to a simple change of will, but rather to the intervention of Allah, who, through His mercy, softens your heart and guides you towards good deeds. Allah tells us in the Quran, "And if two groups of believers fight, reconcile them among themselves." Surah Al-Hujurat 49:9. This verse teaches us the importance of reconciliation, forgiveness, and unity among believers. When you feel this new inclination to ease tensions and rebuilding bridges where there were once walls, know that this is an answer from Allah to your prayers. It is He who opened your heart to understanding and forgiveness, allowing you to see situations from a fairer and more human perspective. So every little act of kindness, every moment you choose reconciliation over conflict, is a sign that your prayer has borne fruit. These changes in your relationships with others are not only signs of personal growth, but also evidence of divine action in your life. Allah guides you to live in harmony with those around you, inspiring you to embrace peace and compassion in all your interactions. This change in your relationships is one of the most powerful signs that your prayers have been answered, because human relations are the mirror of the purity of our faith and our worship towards Allah. Be grateful for these moments of newfound peace, and continue to nourish this divine blessing in your relationships, because every smile, every kind word, and every forgiveness given is a reflection of Allah's mercy working in your heart. 8. An increased feeling of gratitude. Scene: a person standing with his hands raised to the sky, his face marked with an expression of deep gratitude, thanking Allah for the visible and invisible blessings in his life. The setting around her is peaceful, evoking an intimate connection with the divine. Narrator: a very powerful sign that your prayers are answered is manifested by an increased feeling of gratitude. After praying sincerely, you begin to perceive the world around you in a different way. You become more grateful for the little things that you may have taken for granted before. The simple sight of a ray of sunshine, the gentle breeze of the morning, or even a smile exchanged with a loved one fills you with deep gratitude. You realize that every moment, every breath is a gift from Allah, a sign of His infinite mercy. This feeling of gratitude is a direct answer to your prayers. When you turn to Allah with a sincere heart, it opens your eyes to the beauty of the world around you. You begin to appreciate more the blessings you already have, to understand that everything you have is a grace from Allah, whether it is for your health, your family, or any other benefit. It's not that the circumstances of your life have necessarily changed, but your perception of them becomes clearer, deeper, filled with gratitude to the one who gave you everything. Perhaps temptation manifests itself in the form of hidden sins or inappropriate behavior, but you feel a new clarity in your decisions. You know that this path is the one that leads to inner peace, and you are ready to follow it, no matter the challenges. This shows that your prayer had a profound effect on your heart, purifying and elevating it. Allah, in His great mercy, offers you this inner strength so that you can rise above the distractions and temptations of this world. Never underestimate this power to resist what is bad. It is a sign that your prayer has been heard and that you are sustained by divine grace. 5. A feeling of closeness to Allah. Scene: a person praying, face peaceful, hands raised to the sky, a look filled with devotion and tranquility. Narrator: one of the most powerful signs that Allah answers your prayers is feeling of closeness with Him. After your prayers, you begin to feel a deeper connection, a spiritual bond that grows stronger day by day. This feeling is not only the result of your prayers, but of the grace of Allah, which brings you closer to Him and allows you to feel Him more intimately in your heart. It is as if, after invoking Allah, you perceive His presence around you, in every breath, every moment. It is not a feeling that is limited to a specific moment of prayer, but one continuous feeling of closeness which accompanies you throughout the day. You begin to feel His companionship in your moments of solitude, in reading the Quran, or even in the ordinary actions of life. Whether it's a small act of kindness or a moment of silent reflection, you know that Allah is there, always close to you. It's a soft, comforting feeling that helps you get through ordeals and face your challenges with serenity and confidence. Allah reminds us in the Quran, "And when my servants ask you about me, then I am near." Surah Al-Baqarah 2186. This verse is a divine promise. Allah is always close to us, close to our heart, close to our thoughts, ready to respond to our invocations. When you feel this closeness, it is a sign that your prayers are being heard and that you are in an intimate relationship with your Creator. It is a blessing of Allah who allows you to feel His presence in every moment of your life, like a silent but powerful companion. This feeling of closeness is not something that can be forced or manipulated. It manifests itself naturally when you are sincere in your prayers, when you call on Allah with humility and faith. It is a spiritual gift that you receive, bringing you closer to the deep truth of your existence, that which is serve and submit to Allah. This connection gives you inner strength, clarity of mind, and peace that nothing else can give you. So every time you feel this divine proximity, don't take it for granted. It is a sign that your prayers are answered. You opened your heart to Allah, and He responded by giving you this sacred bond, this deep feeling that you are never alone. You are in His company, and that gives you unwavering confidence in His wisdom and kindness. 6. Dreams or spiritual signs. Seen, a sleeping person showing a peaceful face. The dream she has is calming. Perhaps she sees a soft light or a spiritual symbol. Alternatively, signs in nature, such as a beautiful sunset or a calm breeze, bring a sense of peace. Narrator. A particularly powerful sign that your prayers are being answered can manifest through dreams or spiritual signs. Sometimes, after praying sincerely, Allah sends you signs in your dreams or even symbols in daily life, which are divine reminders of His presence, His guidance, and His response to your invocations. These signs are not always obvious, but they are there to strengthen your faith and help you stay patient in your spiritual quest. Dreams have always been a way for Allah to communicate with His servants. Sometimes, after praying, you may have dreams that bring you great peace or symbols that remind you of important spiritual truths. These dreams may be direct messages or subtle inspirations, which confirm that your prayers have been taken into account by Allah. It could be a comforting dream, a vision of light, or even a dream in which you feel a feeling of deep peace, as if you were in perfect harmony with the divine. These experiences are blessings sent to guide your heart and remind yourself that you are not alone in your efforts. But divine signs are not just limited to dreams. Sometimes, daily events of the moments of beauty in nature, or even coincidences, can become powerful signs that remind you that your prayers are heard. A beautiful sunset, a smile from a stranger, a meaningful encounter, or even a moment of calm in the storm. All of these little moments can be invitations to reflect on the mercy of Allah and on the answer to your prayers. Allah tells us in the Quran, "And we show them our signs in the universe and within." The Quran frequently reminds us of the importance of gratitude to Allah. If you are grateful, I will give you more. Surah Ibrahim 14:7. This verse is not a simple promise, but a divine call to cultivate gratitude in our hearts. When Allah sees that you are grateful for small blessings, He grants you even more, elevates you, and guides you to a life of greater peace and spiritual prosperity. Gratitude is a way of affirming your faith and trust in Him, and Allah always responds to those who sincerely thank Him. This feeling of gratitude can also transform the way you view trials. You begin to understand that even in difficulties, there are hidden blessings. You are more capable of seeing divine wisdom in every situation, no matter how difficult. Gratitude becomes a light in your heart, a way of recognizing the constant presence of Allah in your life, even in times of adversity. So whenever you feel filled with gratitude, whenever you express your thanks to Allah for the blessings seen and unseen, know that it is a clear sign that your prayers have been answered. Gratitude transforms your life in a continuous prayer, a constant reminder of the mercy of Allah and the beauty of each moment. Never underestimate the power of a grateful heart, because it is the key that opens the doors of infinite blessings. 9. Trials that bring you closer to your faith. Seen. A person facing a difficulty, such as the loss of a job, an illness, or a family ordeal. Despite the pain, she keeps her faith, praying with sincerity, finding inner peace through her trust in Allah. Narrator. A profound sign that your prayers are answered can sometimes manifest itself in unexpected ways, through trials that bring you closer to your faith. This may seem paradoxical, because who could imagine that difficulties are the answer to our invocations? Yet, in the divine wisdom of Allah, trials are often a powerful means of purification and way to refine our faith and bring us closer to Him. Instead of seeing a hardship as a curse, you begin to understand that it is a blessing in disguise, sent by Allah to raise your heart and draw you closer to Him. These trials push you to turn to Allah with more humility, to seek His guidance, and to strengthen your patience and faith. You then remember that true wealth lies not in material goods, but in your spiritual connection with your Creator. It becomes a test of your sincerity, a way to show your dedication and trust in the wisdom of Allah, even in difficult times. Allah says in the Quran, "And we will certainly test you with something of fear, of hunger, of loss of possessions, of lives, and of fruits, and announce the good news to patience." Surah Al-Baqarah 2:155. This verse reminds us that trials are part of God's plan. They are intended to purify our souls and strengthen our faith. Trials are not a sign of abandonment of Allah, but rather a sign of His nearness and of His desire to purify us and bring us closer to Him. In these times of trial, you often feel a deep intimacy with Allah, a spiritual intensity that you didn't have before. You invoke Allah with more fervor. Your heart is in a state of total sincerity. You realize that each difficulty overcome is a step closer towards a deeper faith, a rapprochement with the One who is the best help. These tests then become an opportunity for spiritual purification, a way to get rid of the excesses and distractions that took you away from your goal. They teach you patience, sabr, gratitude, shukr, and trust in divine wisdom. You learn to see beauty in adversity, to understand that every trial is a way to bring you closer to Allah, to purify yourself internally and strengthen your convictions. This process can be difficult, but ultimately, this is where you feel most deeply Allah's response to your prayers. Thus, each ordeal you go through becomes an act of worship. You accept adversity with faith, and you turn your heart to Allah, knowing that everything that happens to you is a form of testing and purification. You understand that trials are never there to bring you down, but for raise you, to bring you closer to your Creator and purify your heart of worldly attachments. 10. An unexpected but perfect answer. Seen. A person in a moment of reflection, looking a little surprised, but smiling and grateful, receiving an unexpected answer or solution to their prayers. Narrator. The final sign that your prayers are being answered often comes unexpectedly, but in a way perfectly suited to your needs. Sometimes what you ask from Allah in your supplications is not exactly what you receive, but what you get is always better for you, even if you didn't anticipate it. You realize that Allah's response is always aligned with His infinite wisdom. You may pray for something specific, a solution to a problem, a job, or a personal situation. But what you receive does not exactly match your request. Instead of what you were hoping, For you get something different, something that, in hindsight, appears to be much more appropriate and beneficial for your long-term well-being. Allah knows what is best for you, even when you are not yet aware of it. What may seem like a disappointment at one time turns, over time, into a blessing greater than you asked for. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, teaches us, as reported by Al-Bukhari and Muslim, in a magnificent hadith, there are blessings in supplication that are better than what you ask for. This hadith reminds us that the blessings of our invocations are not limited to the simple satisfaction of our desires. Sometimes, what you ask for is not what you really need, and Allah, in His great wisdom, offers you something that exceeds your expectations. He answers your prayers in the most perfect way, even if the form of the answer is not what you imagined. It can concern any situation, a difficulty overcome, an unexpected opportunity, or even a test which, over time, turns out to be a means of purification and rapprochement with Allah. Allah knows what is best for you, which will make you stronger, wiser, and closer to Him. In every answer, there is infinite wisdom which we do not always understand immediately, but which often reveals itself over time. So when you receive an answer to your prayers that seems different from what you had envisioned, welcome it with gratitude and trust. Rest assured that Allah has answered you in a perfect way, in a way that is exactly what you need to progress on the path to faith and spiritual success. Every response, whether it meets your expectations or not, is proof of Allah's love and goodwill towards you. This sign is the most beautiful reminder what we must trust in divine wisdom. Sometimes the best answer is not the one we ask for, but the one that Allah, in His infinite goodness, chooses for us. Swing, dear brothers and sisters, remember that every prayer is a chance to get closer to Allah and that He knows what is best for us. Even if sometimes the answer takes unexpected forms, the signs we have shared today are just reminders that Allah's mercy surrounds us constantly. Never lose hope in the answer to your prayers, because Allah is always near you, ready to meet your needs in the right way. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If it inspired you or gave you food for thought, share it with your loved ones. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. Ameen.